kind of combined, I'm assuming.
Yeah, we're just gonna go straight from
All
three to
right, cool.
four. Yeah. What's
Yeah,
up,
sorry,
everybody?
I meant to
Welcome.
sorry.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Time Entertainment. We are here with the one and the only John from Amatista and iSurvivor38. What's going on?
I'm well, doing okay.
Doing okay. So where we left off last time was the end of episode 2. What were your thoughts when Sean got voted out from Rubino?
Yeah, I didn't really know what to think. I mean, from like what I'd seen and like maybe heard about him, he like clearly was maybe a better player than that. I obviously don't know what went on at the other tribe. But I'm assuming that, if they voted out a dispensary worker on 420, maybe he was a little bit disengaged. Um, yeah, I don't know what to think. I think with like the first tribal of really any tribe, it's gonna come down to like, who is most like in the core of their tribe, right? Like that's what we've seen with our tribals so far is like you're either in it, the thick of it with everybody, or you are not. So my hunch is that he was not.
He was not.
Um,
So we head into the third challenge. Amatista is tied with Rubino at 5 members apiece. And then you get the tree mail about you want the most active members participating and be prepared to lose some sleep, and y'all enjoy what we like to call the iSurvivor hosting 24-hour challenge. How'd that go for you? Have you ever experienced something like that?
so in other games I've played things with an overnight component before. They go pretty mixed. Like it really always depends on, myself. I've lost an elimination before that's been overnight like that before, but that was because I had a bunch of other shit going on and fell asleep. Not much that can be done. But I think like this challenge, it was important to just show that you're there and down for the cause, right? Like that's what I think everybody was looking for, right? Like even though up to this point I'd been like pretty active and good about like making friends on my tribe, like I feel like you could very easily squander all of that by like not being like, down to chill. I'll be honest, like going into this, I expected our tribe to bond more, right? Like I expected like calls to be coming up more during the evening, and they really only came up like initially, and then we were all kind of checking in, doing our own thing as it came. I think as time went on in that challenge, like you can kind of just sense us all starting to feel more and more defeated, unfortunately.
How did it feel like
Uh,
putting your work in, but still losing?
I mean, there's a certain point where you're playing that challenge and you're like, do I just go to bed? Like you're sitting there missing or like barely missing. I remember there was one post we were doing in that challenge where like it was like me, somebody else, and then Sam got it, and then the somebody else in the middle freaking gets the point, and I wanted to just like jump through the screen and like start throwing fists, but you can't win them all. I think we were fortunate that it was not all of us trying, because if it was all of us trying to no avail, it would have been much more difficult of a conversation. But like, sure, like we all lost. That sucked, but it didn't really complicate things for us. Yeah.
What did it mean for Amatista once y'all lost?
So I think like once it all cleared out, I had a very similar feeling at the end of this challenge than I did the first one, right? Where it's like it didn't sit well, right? Like my not only like personal score, how I was scoring both times didn't feel great. How I had a sense of like the entire tribe's performance also didn't feel great. So like, yeah, you could kind of feel, right? Like I feel like with these challenges, like even though like there's lights out, you know if you did good or you did bad, right? Like that's just kind of like a given. So yeah, it didn't feel great, but it's like we all kind of knew. And like even talking to everybody, we were all just like, I mean, obligated to discuss it because I feel like the formality of Survivor is you like get on the call and you like talk about your plan, but it was the most straightforward deliberation possibly ever, alarmingly so, but like it didn't make sense for it to really get off the rails.
Um, so it was pretty straightforward on your tribal council, getting rid of Jess. How has
Yep.
the tribe dynamic been different now that it's just the four of y'all?
Yeah. So it's like when we voted out Jess for my own like personal game, if she was here and everything, I wouldn't have wanted her to go, right? Like she's somebody who, even though I didn't really talk to her a lot coming into it, I feel like she's somebody I could have probably relied on going down the road. So for me, it was important that if I am going to sacrifice a number like that, that I feel good with the other relationships that are all there, right? Like I didn't just small talk Sheed for no reason to like shoot the shit. You know what I mean? Like just making sure that he feels like he has somebody he has rapport with and can talk to for whatever comes down the line. And I feel like between like me and Sam, we had a very similar experience the entire time during the challenge to where like, all right, like, I mean, not only for this round, like, you know, we both tried, both felt that, but generally we've still been able to bond Julia as well. She was like, I don't think there, I can't even remember if she or she was there for most of the time between the two of them, but she still at least like tried, has put in the effort to talk to me as well. So I just, I think that it's definitely brought the four of us closer together, um, in a way that we're like, all right, like not only can we not spare another loss, like I think we all genuinely care about each other's performance, even if you're like in Sheed's case where he's not necessarily in like the inner alliance. Like he's still somebody that I think all three of us value and want to work with.
How do you feel that your tribe did last night?
Um, this, I mean, our tribe, especially those first three rounds, like killed that challenge. Like when they describe the rules, I've seen the game show Chain Reaction stuff before. Those puzzles and stuff are not new to me. So I thought I was like, all right, like I have a sense of what's going on. And even then, like we did better at the beginning, especially than I thought we were gonna do. I was like, all right, like crushed it. And even like the fourth round, sure, it took us like I think at most 3 or 4 extra guesses on some of the words. I feel like that won't necessarily make us like just like tank our entire performance. You know what I mean? Like if we performed that well the entire time, I have a feeling that some other tribes might have had a couple extra guesses in some of the earlier rounds as well. That would have extended their clock. So or not even clock, but amount of guesses. So yeah, I feel like I said, like for some of the previous challenges, like you kind of get the feeling, you know, like I felt pretty good about our second challenge. I didn't feel great about the first and the third. This one I feel actually better about than the second one.
So are you feeling like immunity is yours tonight?
I mean, I think so. I think that because last time we were kind of blindsided by there being two tribals, right? I have a feeling that maybe a similar thing could and would happen at the end of this one. Um, and if that is the case, like I feel like we have a top two tribe performance. easily. Like we got some lucky guesses in there, let me tell you.
How are you feeling about your alliance with Sam and Sheed? If y'all did lose to, I mean Sam and Julia. If y'all lose tonight, do you feel like you could make it out alive?
Yeah, I do think so. I mean, there's always a possibility that something can go awry, but I think that especially this early, there's no real incentive or proven reason, I think, to really renege on that. You know what I mean? Like, it
Mhm.
doesn't seem like the two of them, being Sam and Julia, would have like individually made as good of a connection with Sheed to where the two of them would be like, oh, let's, have a side deal with Sheed and pull that in. I don't necessarily think that, I mean, anything could happen. I just don't see that based off of the interactions that I've had with everybody else.
Mhm.
Like, I don't really see that happening. Um, yeah, I feel pretty good about it, especially like um, Julie the other day or yesterday reached out to me asking to call when she was like kind of going through some stuff at the fortune teller. So, or like she was explaining the situation to me. So the fact that she was willing to come to me and confide for something like that kind of put me at ease. And even some of the questions that might have like incriminated myself, I feel like I handled very well to where I'm in a still good spot.
All right, John, anything else you want to mention from those two episodes that we haven't touched on yet?
Um, Not particularly. I mean, maybe I could touch on a little bit of like what Julia was saying at the fortune
Certainly.
teller.
Certainly. What insights did you get since the last time you've been there?
Yeah, so I mean, she told me she's been in and out twice in a row, right? So she told me the first time that it was like all the same people that were there the first time that I was there, and they were all like buddy buddy with one another. And then the second time, she was like they were even more like shooting the shit, like they were all friends already or something like that. And of course, like Julia was saying that she was excluded from that. She seems like a pretty friendly person. Like she could have pretty easily been involved in the conversation, but I could definitely see that, like, for when I was at the fortune teller, like people are overly friendly, trying to create something with everybody that they can. And like, that's nice, but I never took it beyond face value. Like, these are people who have talked to me for 5 minutes, have been into the game for maybe a day when I was in it. So you have to take kind of all that stuff with a grain of salt. Um, she did end up asking me, like, um, I think the people in the fortune teller were discussing like the divine power machine, and they were like asking if like it was open or closed for everybody. And she asked me because I think she'd heard that it had something to do with like the cards. And I asked and I double checked with her. I was like, oh, like you mean like the cards that you get at the fortune teller, like will help you get into it? Like me, like obviously knowing I know how to get into it, but like I was, sort of asking questions, being like I was like discovering this stuff for the first time. So if she did have doubts about me, I feel like I was able to kind of play dumb a little bit.
Okay, John. I'm good on questions, my friend.
Okay.
You were all good. To make up, you made up episode 3. We went to episode 4, so you are all good for
Yeah,
tonight.
I don't know, like what it's you obviously like Drew wouldn't have given away other tribes' performances during that challenge, but like the fact that we had like a perfect score the first 3 rounds, I was like, period. Because like
I mean, that just leaves you in a good position to like maybe pick up the win. Like perfect scores are not bad scores, right? So like
no, I know it's this
unless
whole
every other tribe did just as well and then ate up the last one, which was probably the most difficult puzzle of the 4, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like I mean, I feel like every other tribe probably did the same that we did on the last one, like, or maybe a little less guesses, but like the same to where the rest of them will have probably added on. Like, no, not everybody was guessing space shuttle for the first one. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of a
Mhm.
weird phrase, but like our tribe really thought it out, and we got some lucky, awesome guesses. Like, couldn't I feel pretty. I feel as confident as you can be with a twist like this. You know.
Mhm. Well, wish you the best of luck, John. I don't want to see you at tribal council again.
If I fucking lose, Sandy, I'm blaming you. No, just kidding.
I'll take the blame. I'll take